that you have power, the e-stop is pulled out, but I think you would get a fault on there anyways if the e-stop is active. So yeah, so you can always just, like, if you want to look at your previous alarms or anything like that. Oops. So you're going to go to home, and then you're going to go to your fault record. That's your alarm screen. This is your real-time fault, so any that are active, but you can go to your history screen as well of just what was happening. So you've got Barry pressed the emergency stop to test it, so that showed up. That the combustible gas detector was,
I disconnected.
Okay, so disconnected it and then reconnected it. So it just shows what has happened so far. And then just side again to the real-time fault screen.
Yeah.
So right now, nothing.
As an aside, when you first turn the system on, it takes about a minute or so for that gas detector to become enabled. Right before it starts sending out a 4 to 20 milliamp signal, it shows below, so the system will not start. It will give you an error, right? Then you just have to reset. But if you just let it time out, come up to
and that's
1 or 2 minutes.
That's just by energizing the system. It'll do
just by energizing. Yes,
Yeah, so give it a minute.
It starts. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so we'll go back to the home page. And so now if you want to see any of the other screens, so what we were talking about, so you have user parameters, and so this one is going to be your all 8s, enter. So this is giving you some of the parameters that we have in there. So I wouldn't really go into, you don't want there to be any kind of delay on the fans starting and stopping. And that's triggered by temperature with these fan start temperatures. So you want it to be comfortably in that around 80 Celsius.
And we have copies of all these screens as well.
I believe so, yeah.
I don't know if the settings show up in all those screens, though.
So what we'll do is, like, before we leave, like the set points as we've left them for this system, and then that way everyone sort of has a record of where everything was happening.
That's a good idea.
And we just place it in the panel.
Yeah, and so we've got the loading and unloading pressure in MPA, so it's a little bit, this one is a little bit frustrating for me because there's a bunch of conversions that have to take place, but we've got those set in for the loading and unloading pressure, so that's where it's going to let the clutch in, just freeze it if it needs to. We've got the cycle counter.
That's for this motor here that was changed?
So this is the loading and the unloading is for the compressor motor. So that's where it'll just, if it's like there's, so if it goes in, if the PSA can't take as much gas, and then get some back pressure on it, then the compressor will go into unload and load. It'll usually, because of the because of the pressure on the discharge. And I guess on the inlet too, it would send it into unloading.
Loading meaning accepting any gas.
Correct, yeah. So if it's, loading is, you got the clutch, or you let the clutch out, you're actually driving. And if you put the clutch in, you're kind of just letting it spin. So it does, that's what that does. On the next page, we've got just going between local and remote, and then this one is just hours. A lot of it is just runtime hours. So if you say, for example, you change the oil, so we've got this one set to 0 because there were new filters in there when we left. So as that starts to run, it'll build up hours, and then you'll get, I can't remember how many hours it goes to, but at a certain number of hours.
450 or something.
Yeah, it tells you.
Yeah, it's in the manual, I think, as well too.
Yeah. So you'll find that as you go through, those will come up. And this also tells you, like, the frequencies. Your running frequency is not that different from your unloading frequency, and we can, if we need to adjust that for going into turn down, we can look at that, what that will be comfortable at. So now we'll just go back to there. Factory settings, this is the one that is all 7s. So this is where you're getting into your trips and things like that. So it is a different password to get into something that will actually cause trips to the system.
Perfect.
So we have those, we have the set points in place that we sort of decided upon. These can be adjusted if we find that, for example, like the inlet pressure, high and high alarm are low and low. That's a confusing one for me because it's negative.
It is.
So if you're if we're finding that we're getting nuisance trips because of the pressure that you guys are typically at is too close to where we have a trip, then we can make adjustments there.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that we're not keeping it so high that it allows any kind of significant backflow into your digester equipment. because that's the only thing we want to.
We should be able to fine tune that as we run today,
I think
right?
so. Yeah, yeah. But I'm not sure what happens on your system, like as the bag empties, if it winds up sort of going more into vacuum, say in the morning, like when it's a bit cooler. If it goes sort of like into a pressure state, just keeping an eye on
it'll
that.
be pretty consistently half a PSI because of our blower, right?
Okay, oh good, okay. So what we see will pretty much always be that. That's good. These are very close, the discharge pre-alarm and alarm. So maybe we should watch that. I think the 0.94 and 0.95.
Right.
I think that is how close it is in PSI.
Yeah. It shouldn't get up there though.
No, I don't think so. And then we've got, so our alarm 20% and 25%, that's good. I don't think that should stay there, I believe. And then temperature parameters, again, like we put these in when I was here last, so I think those should, you should be good there to stay put there. Yeah, so if it comes in too much hotter than that to the system, then it just won't be able to cool enough.
Yeah.
So that's pretty straightforward there.
We stay pretty room temperature for our gas.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's exactly what it's happy running with. And I think...
What?
Because it's like 40 something sometimes, like 50 degrees Celsius.
Oh wow.
Okay.
When I see a reading on the flow meter out there.
Okay. I thought it was like 23 pretty consistently.
Not for the gas. It's been in the summer months. It's going up.
Okay.
So
Never mind.
Let's keep an eye on that though. So we'll be aware of that for if we need to make some adjustments for running today. But it might be something that we have to sort of consider because if it is really hot out, then you may have a hard time cleaning the gas enough through the compressor fans. I think other than that.
And actually, because it's in the gas container, why it's if in there gets really hot because there's so much metal being there, but maybe I'm not sure. But on the reading on the flow meter, it goes up to 50 sometimes or 40 something.
Wow.
Okay, so it's good to be so it's good just to be aware of that.
So are you recording that information anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have kind of spreadsheet thing that we do. And
I see. Oh, it's manual.
Manual.
Oh, okay.
Cube
Okay.
has something that I input. So everything is manual, right?
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be good to characterize it that way. If it gets really hot, maybe you have to come over here and make some adjustments
like tying
or something.
it with if it's going to be above 30 degrees Celsius in a day, you might know that it's not a good day to be running. Okay, so everything is in automatic mode right now, but so I'll show you how I got into there. So you want to go into manual debugging. Your normal passwords. So right now, so you can see that you're in automatic mode. You want to go to manual mode and just spin something or test the valves. You're just clicking that, and then you can load and unload solenoids. You can turn the PSA motor. This is the standard value. I'm going to put this up to 33 just to start. So now when we start up, its starting point is going to be 33 hertz.
That's also on the PSA screen.
Yeah. So it's reading minus 0.03. I think that's just the span.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
And I think if anything, we can adjust that with that little magnet guy if need be. But
yeah.
Otherwise, it's pretty darn close. Other than that, I think that that's not really. You can look at you can monitor your inlet pressure to see if it's sort of fluctuating any kind of significance.
That's handy, yeah.
It shouldn't fluctuate really. It should be.
Our inlet pressure shouldn't fluctuate.
It shouldn't, yeah. So if it's drying too fast, you could see like if we're pulling too much gas and we need to slow down a little bit to let the system catch up, then you might see it kind of. You might see that you need to slow it down just from it.
Is this? Oh, okay. Is this inlet to the PSA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So intake pressure, that'll be that one's in kPa. PSA inlet and PA. So that's pretty much like your compressor inlet and compressor outlet. That's essentially what that is. And this is your just temperature screen. So if it's starting to spike, you'll see it there, but then you can probably see it on the screen more easily. So this is your compressor main screen. This is what will come up when you start. So now
can you
it's
go back
ready
to home
for.
down here?
So to go home, and then just in this bottom.
Oh.
So back to compressor. So if you want to see the compressor screen, this is what you're dealing with. This is what you're looking at here. So we've got our operating, the temperature inside the system right now is 30 Celsius. No problem. And then to go to the PSA screen, you're going to go to here. So we've got it set up right now that it will start at 33 hertz. You want to err on the side of starting fast on a startup without the vacuum pump to just kind of draw out the CO2 from the media.
Yeah.
You want to let it, you want to make sure you're not letting that climb up the bed as much as possible.
So if you hit start on the compressor screen, is it the same as hitting start on the PSA screen?
Yes, it's when you're in auto
So
mode.
all of these do the same thing regardless
It's
on what
system
screen.
start,
Okay,
yeah. System start, system shutdown. So yes, this is your PSA. All you're really monitoring here is that the valve is turning and at what frequency. But you can go in here, and you can change that set point actively. Minimum is 13, maximum 60. Minimum is 13 just because with these gearboxes, they don't like that to run below that.
Okay.
They typically will shut down once you get to 10. So you have a little bit of play there, but 13 is a good comfortable one where you won't shut it down.
So you can change this even in the automatic mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can make adjustments, and that's a good thing. So if you're finding like, okay, we're drawing too much, or we're not drawing enough, and we're gonna get a trip, and it's gonna be a nuisance trip because everything else is fine. You can make some adjustments there.
Okay. So now I need to go to the other menu and change it.
Yeah. So you can make some sort of adjustments on the fly there, but you don't want to make nothing major. So if you're making a change in this while it's running, you don't want to go more than about change it by 1 hertz. And then kind of let it settle for 30 seconds, a minute, and then 1 more hertz. So don't make big changes to the operating mode. I like to keep it on one of the run screens whenever we're actually running, just to see what's actually happening.
So the question Tommy was asking if these buttons here is the same as these one here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And that does the same thing as just if you just hit start, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Oh,
they're all the
okay.
same.
All right.
And then so getting back to the home screen is just home. Reset is for when you have any kind of alarms that you've fixed or done whatever you had to do to clear that alarm. You can then clear it from the alarm screen by pressing reset, and then you should see this light go off.